This is Southampton, a preeminent port city if ever there was one. It's made its living from the sea for centuries. Even now, it's still a liner town as the great cruise ships dock here to take their customers off for a hedonistic fortnight on oceans far and near. You would think, wouldn't you, that if ever there was a place where the importance of the sea would be fully understood, it might be here. You'd be wrong.
How much of everything we use in the UK comes by sea? Is it 20%, 50%, 75%? How much do you think?
I'd probably say about 50%.
Would you be surprised if I said it was 95%?
Yeah, really, I would.
40%.
62%.
It's actually 95%.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Crikey.
Pass.
35%?
It's actually 95%.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
I've no idea. I've really not thought about it. Probably not a lot.
So everything around here is just imported, yeah?
95% of it, yeah.
The problem is that the problem starts early. Right here in the classroom, in fact. Long gone are the maps that show the trade routes of the world, never mind the globes sporting the pink of empire. An unreported ocean indeed. And yet this young generation is more dependent than ever on sea trade, not least for the things that make life fun.
What is your favourite toy and how do you think it got to Britain?
My favourite toy is probably my bike, and I think it got here by a train or an aeroplane.
I think my favourite toy is probably my Barbie dolls because I like to use them with different accents and that. And they might have come here by aeroplane.
Train or boat. Train or Eurostar.
My favourite toy is my joke book and I think it got here on a 1 hour aeroplane.
Right, so most of you said that things came by plane or train or tube or things like that. Would you be surprised if I told you that most of those toys and most of the things that come in your houses actually arrive in Britain over the sea by ship?
Yes. I would be a little bit shocked because I would be shocked because if it came on a Titanic.
Yes, it certainly would. It will break.
The child is father to the man. But the sea doesn't go entirely unreported, of course. Oh no, there's plenty of coverage whenever anything goes wrong. But then the melancholy withdrawing roar. The sea fades away again from the national consciousness. Why?
I think people in Britain have just lost sight of the sea. I think in the old days there used to be ships in every town. The roads were terrible, so you'd take ships. If you lived in Cornwall, you'd take a ship up to Wales, you'd take a ship up to central southern England. And of course, if you travelled abroad, you had to go by ship. There were ports, working ports in the heart of London, Liverpool, all these places that now seem so far away from the sea. And actually what's really remarkable is we've got more trade than ever in this country, more goods coming in, more goods going out. But it's going through Felixstowe, it's going through places like Milford Haven that the vast majority of the population never ever see.
I think that's absolutely right. We're blind because we actually don't see ships very often. We don't see large ships because people, when they travel by air. Large ships are so big now that their ports are in the margins of our country. They're on the coast, away from major cities. You don't see a ship in London. You don't see a ship in Liverpool very often in the way that you did, certainly not the volume of shipping. So the ship doesn't feature very largely on people's horizon at all, and therefore the people just do not connect with ships.
Well, the maritime scene was a very people-rich industry, and you naturally had people coming back from a day's work in the docks or from a voyage on cargo ships, bringing back the experiences, the knowledge, the importance of the maritime into their communities and into their homes. But today it's a very technologically based industry. It's no longer located in the middle of our major towns and cities around the coast as it was in the past, and therefore largely out of sight and out of mind. And an ideal example of this would be a recent survey which Seafarers UK conducted amongst young people, asking for a well-known British maritime personality. The answer? Captain Jack Sparrow from Pirates of the Caribbean.
So given the overwhelming importance of the maritime to our life as a nation, a huge and undeniable fact, how is it that the sea is so far down the agenda of newspapers and broadcasters?
I think that there are reasons to do with the proportion of travel that's experienced by the population of the UK that has something to do with it. We are, as you know, in many ways still a maritime nation, but the sense of the nation's own identity as being deeply, deeply embedded in the sea as an island nation has declined.
Well, I suppose in some ways it's a tribute to the success of the industry because, as we all know in television, news tends to be about things that go wrong. Clearly an awful lot of things have gone right in the maritime industry, and that doesn't tend to make for great television or great news generally.
One of the reasons for its low profile is its diversity and lack of a concerted central voice. It's a vast, global and fragmented industry made up of a diverse range of segments with a component companies, associations, members and accompanying interests. It doesn't speak with one voice. It never has.
It's not for want of trying that the message is failing to get through. These are just some of the organisations aiming to tackle sea blindness, including, of course, us in the Maritime Foundation. But all these journeys on the superhighway aren't getting us far along the sea lanes of heightened awareness that the UK needs to travel. If you want proof of that, look at the flaccid public reaction to the crippling cuts recently inflicted on the Royal Navy. Not, "We want 8 and we won't wait," as in the great public campaign for dreadnoughts just a century ago. More, "Cut all you like, I'm off on my bike." So what do we and you need to do to shift this inertia?
I would highly recommend that you do set up communication lines between your industry and key decision makers in the media so that they at least know what's happening. At least you can get inside the planning departments of television news where perhaps you're not at the moment.
I'm in the course of creating a one-stop digital information hub, a shop window that captures all of the diversity of the UK maritime sector, something young people can reach out and touch and understand through using social networking sites, through using uploads from various work environments around this industry, so that people have the opportunity to get an inside view of everything that happens and to learn about its importance.
We have a number of outreach programmes. We bring in school parties, we present to schools, we have a show and tell kit that we can take to schools where we can. We reach out through apprenticeship programmes. We take every opportunity we can to educate people, but I think it probably goes wider than that. We as a nation somehow need to find a means of letting people know that however far from the sea they are, their dependency remains total on the sea.
The problem is that governments have to get involved in shipping. But shipping is a long-term business and politics is a short-term business. The two things don't come easily together. What I would say is that in the future, for large populations, we will need to bring by sea food, we will need to bring by sea energy. And I honestly believe in the future we will need to bring by sea water. And therefore any government that doesn't have a shipping strategy is actually putting the sustainability of its future populations at risk.
Here at the Maritime Foundation, we've also put words on the water, setting up the Maritime Volunteer Service, with a future focus providing all kinds of hands-on, at-sea experience for young people.
Well, you've got to maintain this knowledge or it'd be lost and you'd never get it back. And this is what the MVS do, Maritime Volunteer Service. We pass on all the knowledge we go, and we expected that what you learn, you pass on as well. And it's an ongoing scenario, and it's really good. And you haven't got to be brain a Britain. We do more practical than theory, and it's enjoyment.
How ironic it is that as more and more people take to the sea in cruise liners, powerboats under sail, in ferries, there's less and less understanding of the importance of the oceans to the life of Britain. We sorely need a paradigm maritime shift. But even if we started now, we may, like the seaborne imports we so depend on, be only just in time.